Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
Well, you're dating, gaming, sleaze. Marriage ain't your thing, but I love you. You're dating, gaming, sleaze, oh yeah. You assassinate a broad, got the mole of the CIA upon you. You're dating, gaming, sleaze, it's a whirl. Shoot a commie, host the gong, get it on. Shoot a commie, host the gong, get it on.
You're going to get us flagged for something.
I know, right? Hey.
That's good. I love it.
Mark Boylan, rest in peace. He can't get us in trouble, but his estate can. Bang a Gong by T-Rex.
Nice. And welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. I'm Luke Lone, joined once again by Chuck Starzinski.
Char Starzinski here.
And Javier Martinez.
Nice to be back.
And this is our first Founders Edition, and it's All About Me Day.
Yeah.
Because we watched one of my favorite films, probably my favorite film. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Probably the one.
Yeah.
The one. It's Luke's big special day. He gets a big special round of applause, audience. I hope you're clapping. I can't hear you.
It's all right. They're listening to the trailer.
Perfect.
My name is Charles Hirsch Barris. I've written pop songs. I've been a television producer. In addition, I have murdered 33 human beings.
I talked to a psychic today, and she said that you are going to be very successful.
A pretty girl asks three handsome guys questions, and she picks one to date. That's it. That's the show.
His future was uncertain.
I'm sorry about your show. Are you okay?
I just want to entertain people.
His every move was being watched.
I could use your help. I work for the Office of Diplomatic Security.
Is that the CIA or something?
Are you interested?
I can teach you at least 30 different ways to kill a man, Mr. Barris.
The edge of your hand against your adversary's Adam's apple.
Mr. Goldberg.
Hi, Chuck. I have a hole in my daytime schedule.
It's the Gong Show.
It's a perfect cover. TV producer by day, CIA operative at night. Think of it as a hobby, something you do to relax. Dankeschön.
I'm Chuck.
Here you are, Chuck.
Pleasantly surprised. You're not like the other murderers.
When you lead two different lives, it's easy to forget what side you're on.
Right. Penny, Patricia, how'd you find me?
Are you serious? This is what I do for a living.
What does she mean that's what she
You're
does
dead
for
in
a
my
living?
book.
Do you want me around or not?
Everything's complicated, Ben. You work for me. There's no backing out now. We let you in on everything.
Drew Barrymore, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Sam Rockwell as Chuck Barris.
Look who comes out of hiding.
Someone changed sides.
It's over. It's finished. Your history.
You're a dead man.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
So the short and sweet of it, this is an adaptation of the cult memoir of game show impresario Chuck Barris of The Gong Show, in which he purports to have been a CIA assassin.
Mm-hmm. I have a sexy one that I wrote because I was trying to find one. Because all the IMDb ones are super dry. I was
they're pretty bad, yeah.
A biopic about Chuck Barris, one of the most prolific television producers, game show hosts, and CIA assassins?
Nice.
Oh. Well, yeah. I'll give you the driver's seat on this one since this is one of your favorite films, Luke.
Sure. It is. I unapologetically claim this to be one of my favorite films of all time. The one I rewatched the most Maybe. I haven't watched it in a while, but back over the last 20 years that it's been out, yeah, I probably put this in as my comfort film. I love the two genres I really love are noir, which is this is a fantastic noir film, and the unreliable narrator. That'll get me every time, and this movie has both. I guess most noirs are like that, but
yeah. No, I know. As soon as I popped it in, like, within like 2 minutes, I was like, oh, yep, I know, because, from experience, I know that the noirs are kind of your thing.
You're like,
so, yeah, I was like, oh, of course. Okay, cool.
This is Lukey likes this one. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a random Netflix rental. I didn't see it in theaters, but I probably watched that rental DVD 4 or 5 times before I sent it back.
Yeah. As discussed in almost every episode, I was a filthy little video store rat, eating popped kernels of free bags of popcorn, which I wish places still did that. Yeah. I mean, I understand the video store has to exist for places to still do that, but yeah, eating little free dirty kernels off the floor.
What if we had a popcorn store that rented videos?
Ooh. Holy shit, actually, that's a great idea. It's like, no. We're a gourmet corn shop. We also just happen to have 19 rows of DVDs.
Of dusty, well-used DVDs that may or may not play.
Yeah, exactly. No promises. Yeah, that copy of Tinkerbell, I actually found it on 4th Street. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to play. True story, actually. I just found a copy of Tinkerbell on 4th Street. And gave it to a friend as a gift. She used it as a coaster for her cocktail when I saw her. But no, I rented this when I was 14 and absolutely loved it. I feel like, much like Luke, I was probably very much in the very obscure niche for this movie because I grew up watching reruns of The Dating Game and The Newlywed Game.
Oh, did you? Did
you
really?
So I was like more hype as a kid for that stuff. And I think I still am in the movie for that stuff than the assassin CIA nonsense. I remember being so caught up too in wondering if the story was real or not because I was like 14 and being 14 at the time didn't have as much access to the internet as I could, so didn't really ever get my answers until I was a grown adult person. This is a movie that I never owned for some reason but would literally get giddy when I stumbled upon it. Right. Like if I saw it at like a video store or like on a streaming service or something, I'm like, oh shit. And then this is also one of the definitions of a movie that I will corner someone at a bar and talk their ear off about, like in the sense of like, it's like someone hasn't seen it. It's like a knee slapping, like, what? You haven't seen that? Oh my God. I'm going to tell you the plot and ruin it. You won't have to watch it. But imagine seeing this with your eyes instead of smelling my like filthy like Fernet breath. And
Nice. My nostalgia with this film is that Luke told me to watch it, and so I did.
Nice. Oh,
yeah. No, I never. So I never seen it. I never even heard of it, to be honest.
I don't think a lot of people did.
Yeah. So I looked it up. I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. Didn't go too far into the IMDb page. Just glanced at it and I was like, all right, let me watch it. Yeah.
So what did you think of it, and why is your answer I loved it?
So I joked a little bit earlier before the mic came on. This might be my last podcast for a different reason, but this might actually be my last podcast because I think Luke might kill me. So I'll try to be. Let me start it off. Let me throw this out there. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. Okay. All right. I don't think it's garbage. I don't think it's terribly made. None of that. Right?
I believe that's the opinion of most people, actually. That's totally fine.
I watched it and, I was entertained watching it. Mm-hmm. And I think by the end, I realized like that just wasn't my cup of tea.
Sure.
Is all it is, just the same way that, certain people aren't into whatever blood and guts or World War II stories or whatever, like I think maybe just, this kind of genre is not necessarily my cup of tea.
Hey man, we can't all love anthropomorphic ducks trying to have sex with pop stars. I get it. You're preaching to the choir right here, like I get it. So, yeah.
Well, I'd like to take this moment to thank Javier for being on the podcast.
And then there were 2. So anyways, Luke.
No, that's totally fine. I don't think this movie, I know it's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I know it's for a very specific people who came up at a very specific time who will, it's hard to say. I was telling Chuck earlier, I don't know anybody else who's actually seen this movie. And I didn't know Chuck had either. And I didn't know that he liked it. I don't know anybody else in the world who watches this and talks about it, but I fucking love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you watch any of my films, there's a lot of this movie in everything I make.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very instructional.
Sure. I definitely see that.
Yeah. And I'm not, again, I'm not adverse to watching it again. For example, like, if I was talking to somebody at a bar and they say, oh, you know what I really like? I really like noirs. I really like, X, Y, and Z kind of things. I'd be, hey, well, have you ever seen this movie? Because you might enjoy it.
Sure.
So for sure, I would recommend it to people whose thing that was, or, if I was scrolling through TV and had nothing to do and it came up, I wouldn't skip it. I'd be like, oh, yeah, let me try to watch this again. I would certainly give it another go.
Right on. I'm glad you got to see it. I'm always curious to see what people think, because I have no barometer for it. Mm-hmm. I just know that I like it.
Sure. Yeah. So. Absolutely.
Not everybody has to like everything I like.
No.
That's what my lawyers tell me to say.
Say, despite the crosshair, trained on Javier's brow right now. Yeah, not everyone has to, it's
pay no attention to the red dot.
Exactly. This isn't a dictatorship; it's a podcast. Let's all have fun.
Can I tell you about the two scenes that I really liked?
Please.
Please. And then you guys can take the train from that. I'm sure you guys have more to talk about. But the diner, was it a diner or a restaurant scene? Where Chuck and the character played by Rutger Hauer, I forgot his name, the other assassin.
Keller, right?
That sounds familiar. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure.
Keeler.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Right, where they're having that conversation just before he offs himself. Where he's talking about, why do we do this? And he goes into the whole, about why he's doing the game show host thing. And he said, no, why do we do this? That was so cool. I really enjoyed that.
Pretty
that
good,
was
right?
The back and forth and the subtlety of some of the things they were saying, but also some of the things they were also overtly saying. I really enjoyed that. That was one. It kind of caught me off guard because again, up until that moment, I was like, okay, like this is fine, and then I was like, oh shit.
Rutger Hauer pulled a lot of weight in this film.
Oh, absolutely. And he was not in it for very long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, and it's similarly also the ending scene kind of had the same effect where it was like, okay, now we're back to kind of this, and then that ending scene hits about, the three old men, the idea he has, and just the way it ends. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. That was really good. That got me, thinking. So maybe, I don't know if those two things have something in common, but for some reason, those two scenes were the ones that stood out the most to me.
Sure. I totally agree. I love those. I think the one like unifying idea, or I don't know what to call it.
Would you call it a deeper meaning?
No.
Would you call it the it's a sailboat award?
I would call it an auteurism.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is George Clooney's first directorial debut.
Yeah.
I never cared for the guy, up until this time, basically.
For Clooney, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So all he was on TV, like I was like, oh, he's a heartthrob or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched this movie and I understood right away his love for film.
Mm.
And his attention to detail and his it matches mine for sure. And for me, when I try to explain to somebody how to design a film that moves, this film moves from beginning to end. It is moving. There's no dead spots. I mean, as far as I can tell, that don't mean anything. It just, I don't know. No special effects. Everything's done in camera. The moving sets, the transitions and all that stuff. I think that's like Clooney coming on board for this is the unifying thing that makes this work, especially for me. And he's barely in it.
Sure.
But it's not like I enjoy watching the guy anyways, but his directing, his drive to portray, because he also grew up in TV land. His father was a game show host.
Right. I did see that. Yeah.
So like, He knew inside and out. He knew what the movie world was. He knew what the TV world was. He knew how to bring them together and display them and show them for what they were. And it's like the ultimate nostalgia.
This also might be my last podcast because I've got some. I'll save it for the hot take section, but got some conflicting ideas on this film. But I guess while I have the mic. As far as favorite scenes, personally, because I don't
slowly turn Chuck's mic down.
Exactly, slowly kill me. My favorite scene, hands down, is the dating game pilot episode as a whole.
Oh yeah,
and it's starts out with the round robin of the pilot. Like it's just like they film, like probably 3 episodes of it or something like that back to back, and it's just the round robin of severely like tongue-in-cheek innuendo and then very in-your-face dick jokes.
Yeah.
I love that it transitions to then getting torn apart in the boardroom. Like in the 60s, it's like, well, we can't have black men talking about blowjobs on national television. And then one of the other like guys in the boardroom has to go, Harry, the issue isn't that he's black.
That was great.
And then I love that like the bow on that scene is you get that like monologue from the FCC agent who is just like barrel of the gun in your face, just, it's a federal offense to say anything lewd or nefarious on television, and like just goes off. It's a long ride, long car ride to like the facility. Yeah. Oh, so good.
That one moment is my number one.
Oh yeah.
That is the one thing I watch over and over again because Robert John Burke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've never seen somebody chew up, spit out, and chew again the scenery in one take like that. And I laugh my ass off every time I watch that. I'm going to play a lot of the audio here just so people can get some of it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Before we begin taping today, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Peter Jenks of the Federal Communications Commission. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Barris. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but it's a federal offense to make lascivious remarks on a television network broadcast. The penalty for this disgusting, un-American behavior is 1 year in prison or $10,000 fine or both. Anyone making a sick, submersive remark tonight will be arrested immediately. I then will personally escort the offender to federal prison for booking under Edict number 364 of the Broadcasting Act of 1963. And it's a long drive to that prison, baby. Just you and me. No witnesses.
Okay, have fun, everybody. All right.
Yeah. Oh, I'll keep going. Yeah. So my number two is definitely the Helsinki date with Bachelor number 3. It's so fucking good. He's like charismatic and like winning her over in the game, and then it's Chuck, do something. She's not talking to me, Chuck. Chuck, she thinks I'm gay, Chuck. Tell her I'm not, Chuck. Chuck, it's your job. You're the one who brought us here. I'm cold, Chuck. Like, what kind of chaperone are you, Chuck? She's not even looking at me. And then he's like trying to do his assassination mission and like meeting with his contact and Patricia and doing all this. And it's just like, literally ices a guy and then has to be like, oh, hey, bud, how you enjoying? He's like, well, Chuck, I'm not having the best time. Oh, that guy, bless his soul. Like, that character actor is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
He might, not to skip ahead, but he might be up there for my one the movie. Like, I just love him.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't even think about those guys. I love the turnaround at the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then my final favorite scene is Chuck nude in the kitchen meeting Penny for the first time.
Yeah.
I thought that was, it's great. Like, it's a fun little kind of intro and you start to see the chemistry there right away. And then you jump from that into the little kind of montage of not even first dates, but just like that pure lust of when you first meet somebody. Like, they're just like, can't keep their hands off each other. They're having fun together, all of that. And then, we get the dissolve.
What was the quote? Life was great for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of my favorite. Yeah.
A very pregnant pause there.
Got any more?
Those are my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said already, the Inspector Jenks coming in to play the FCC, I don't know what you would call him, but like that whole speech, yeah, again and again, I don't think I could ever top it. I couldn't write anything ever as good as that.
Wow.
Like that to me is like I want to see behind the scenes on the day they shot and see what George Clooney told him to do, and like what the other takes look like, because it could have been dry as fuck, and then George could have been like, just go for it, John.
Yeah. I'm curious how much he brought to that and how much the direction was there,
because he's the only one going that over the top
exactly
in the movie, and if you watch all of his other stuff, he doesn't do that. He's very straight laced, very buttoned down actor.
Sure.
And that's my favorite scene probably of any movie of all movies.
Wow.
That's one I would go to right away. I noticed, well, it's not really my favorite scene, but like for nostalgia wise, all the camera edits. So instead of cutting to a new scene all the time with somebody else, whoever they're talking to on the phone or whatever, they just appear in the background because the set splits apart.
Oh, I love that. That's like, I have that later for like my Roger Deakins stuff.
Oh yeah. And there's tons of it in the film. And that's what I mean by a film that moves. It's constantly moving. It's not stopping to cut. It's not stopping to turn around, do a reverse shot. It's like constantly just shoving you through this play. And I just fucking love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny that you use that you describe it as a play, because I did pick up on that. Like that's at some point, I swear that ran through. I was like, you know what? This kind of seems like a play. And the way it's staged and is moving. So yeah, thank you for putting a word to.
Yeah, and it's not inventive. It's been done in movies
for sure.
for forever. You know, especially to save money, because you don't have to have two sets. You just have one and then just move a flat outside. You know, and I just love that the inventiveness of it. The fact that they walked into the film with that in mind.
Yeah,
you know, I just love it. And I noticed this time there's the scene towards the middle where I think it's the dating game gets cut, and Penny comes home and she does the escalator gag over through the window. And when she does it and falls over, you can see the camera shake because the cam op is laughing, because I don't think that was supposed to happen. I just love that. I just picked up on it this time around. Chuck Barris attends CIA training with Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
So during the training scenes, they track across and they show you all the guys.
Yeah, right.
And you see Ruby and Oswald.
Oh, I missed
on
that.
the name tags next to him.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And at the end, he's like, all right, Jack. All right, Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that. That went over my head.
It's like there's tons of those gags in this movie.
Oh, that's funny.
And if you're not like looking for it or a student to that kind of history and stuff, like all the conspiracy silliness that went on with those.
Right. CIA. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
At the scene you mentioned, Keeler and Barris meeting at the end. So we know at the very end there's a drink switcheroo between Patricia and Barris, and Barris wins. But before that happens, in that restaurant during the voiceover, while Barris is still talking about spies don't have social meetings. If you watch them in the background, they take a drink and then they switch glasses in front of each other. As like a sign of trust.
I did miss that.
Yeah, I missed it every time I watched this up until last night. So
wow, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I just love these little things, and it's totally done. I think in the edit, because you can see a lot of it is when you're looking at Chuck Barris, you see Rutger Hauer blurred out in the mirror in the background, and for some of the dialogue, you can see Rutger Hauer still talking, but there's no audio. So there's a lot of editing that went on there. But that one, the glass switching, is like a foreshadow and a sign of trust. And I fucking love it. I love watching this movie over and over and over because I'm going to see those things over and over.
Yeah. No, and like you said, you just noticed it last night. So it's super cool that, even as someone who loves this film, you're still to this day.
I've never watched it this intently.
Yeah.
Sure. It's always been a comfort film.
Yeah.
And watching it to study it, I love it even more.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love every scene in the movie. I can go on and on and on. I didn't write down everything because I have a lot of other things later on.
Sure.
Do you want to slip anything else in before Javi and I come in with harpoons?
Oh, no. not at all. And like I said, I've never talked to anyone about this film. So I'm very curious to see what my two, best movie friends think about it.
All right, Ishmael, do you want to go in first? Or you want me to be Ivanhoe with?
Sure. No, I'll go first.
I'll just say I don't have any
of the negative
of the negatives.
Yeah,
for this part. So go for it.
Well, yeah. No, I'll go first. But let me say that I don't necessarily see my criticisms of it as negative either. Right? Like again, I'm not like, oh, I didn't think it was bad or anything. Right? I think end of the day, it's just not my cup of tea. Right? That's not something that. The story itself is not something that I'm interested in. And so I guess just therefore, the film itself wasn't interesting to me. But like I mentioned a couple times, and you were talking about, I do appreciate the things that were done in terms of like the cinematography and even some of the script X, Y, and Z. But I guess, and I don't know if this fits into like a later category or not, but I guess if I had to say what my problem with it is that it didn't go far enough. Right. I guess so for me, I think personally, I would have enjoyed this film if it had gone a little bit farther. For example, after watching the movie and, looking through the research and whatnot, and I saw that, Charlie Kaufman was not happy with what was done. And, he's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that they cut out that like, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because when I was like, oh, it didn't seem that Charlie Kaufman-esque. Right. I was like, oh, for sure. I can tell that he probably had way more zany shit in there. And like, and I was like, oh, I think I would have liked, maybe his version of it, whatever they cut out, or, just gone completely balls to the wall with the stories of, what else happened during his, outings in Berlin and X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
So I think that's just mine. I wish they had pushed it more. I feel it was too in the middle. Or they could have just gone the complete opposite and made it way more serious and high stakes, way more into the, oh my God, you're fucking killing people, kind of, versus somewhere in the middle where it's like, oh, he's telling this kind of story and it's kind of a fun kind of fantasy type thing.
I think I totally agree with you. And me and Chuck were talking about this earlier. We wish we could see the Kaufman script.
Yeah.
So this gets into a little bit later, but what happened was Clooney brought Barris in to make it more authentic.
Sure.
And they totally took the rug out from Kaufman, changed his script, didn't tell him, made the movie. For me, my interpretation of that is that they didn't want to focus on taking it too far.
Sure.
Because they don't want to give away, or if you went into more detail, it might be more answerable whether or not Chuck really was a CIA agent. I think they wanted to keep that very ambiguous because it's a unreliable narrator thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I could see it going darker.
Sure.
But I think they tried really hard to walk that line.
Yeah.
From what I read, like all the things I read about Clooney and Barris, Clooney didn't even ask Barris whether it was real or not. Like he didn't want to know.
Sure. No, and again, I can totally appreciate that choice and having, again, the film, I can very much appreciate the film. Just end of the day.
Sure.
Not enough, or, for me. So
yeah, for me, like my biggest critique of the movie, and like we'll probably get more into it like in the nitpick section, but for me, it's really just like, the pacing of this film I have an issue with, in the sense that all of the personal life stuff and all of the game show, like kind of 60s, like mania, all of that ramps and it's great. And then it just feels like every time we get into a CIA scene that isn't necessarily, the Keeler scene we touched on, or any of the Clooney correspondence, it just kind of like, it slows down and lulls when it should ramp up. Like there's scenes for me that should have more weight and more gravitas, and then they just kind of are like, oh, okay. Like there's like for me, it's like the bit like where he witnesses like Keeler getting busted and stuff like that, and is like running from the KGB and all that. It just feels kind of, it's treated very muted to me. Like it's like he's in a KGB prison camp and being traded for another guy and stuff, and it's just kind of like a little, like it's treated kind of just like very mellow and passe. And then there's just like little things like that with the ramping where it's like, okay, he's like, and again, I would love to see the original Kaufman script, because I'm curious to see like if there's a bit more of like a kind of like Aronofsky Black Swan thing going on, where we're blending worlds a little bit more. Because everything, I feel like he could have had so much more fun putting the two worlds together a bit more. There's only like a couple circumstances I can really think of where they do start to really meld. Like where his worlds are really starting to come down upon him, because it's like a lot of like, oh, it's just like, it's very cut and dry. Like, it's like, oh, I need to do the CIA mission. I'm going to do the CIA mission. And then he comes back. And aside from like, some little tongue in cheek stuff, like tossing a gun over his shoulder or this and that, a lot of it is just like, oh, okay, now this is his complete separate life, which for me made it feel almost, I took it the other way with that stuff. I took it like as an audience member, I had more of an impression that, oh, the CIA stuff is made up. It isn't real, because it is kind of like, yeah, I was such a badass. I went down to Mexico. My first hit was like, I mean, they show like later on some gritty stuff, but it's like, it was so clean, yada, yada. And I know that it's part of being the unreliable narrator, but it's like, he just kind of comes back and isn't really like he throws up once and he's just kind of like, okay, we're going to go back to producing the dating game. It's too smooth with some of that stuff. And then, sorry for being bouncy. Caffeine is starting to kick in a little bit, I think. But yeah, for me, that's like the biggest part. My biggest issue with the movie is it's just like, I remember it being like in my like rose tinted nostalgic glasses. I just remember it being more punchy and just kind of being a bit more like, oh, whoa, this is happening. Oh no, he's going to get caught. Oh no. And then I was kind of, maybe I set myself up for failure watching it this time around. I would think I was anticipating things that just weren't that were just like false memories, basically. You
need to watch it 50 more times like I have.
Exactly. No, like that's my big critique. Like I still like this movie, but it is just one of those where I was like, oh man, like I should be more, worried about this guy getting caught, or I should be more intrigued as to like, is he going to, get offed by the mole? And it just kind of was like, well, I don't think he is. Like, he doesn't seem too worried about it, so I don't think he's going to get killed by the mole.
I think because what the one thing that we know they cut out of the Kaufman script was a drug addiction subplot. I think his going to do jobs was his drug addiction in this movie, and it started to give diminishing returns, and that's why he starts to get sweaty at the end. And, it doesn't satisfy like it did.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know what to do. And it's starting to encroach on his life,
Exactly. And then my other worst scene thing is just like, this is more like me coming at it with 2023 eyes. It's just things like, and I understand it's like based on a man's life. So it's like, well, if he was a piece of shit, character in the movie's got to be a piece of shit. But it's just like little things like Chuck blaming the girl he's seeing for getting pregnant, like the other page.
What are you going to get pregnant for?
Yeah, what the fuck? Fuck you. Like, how dare you stab me in the back like this?
She's like, you got me pregnant.
Yeah, you're trying to destroy me, which is also comical. And like, I get it. It's fun. And then the one of the scenes that's just like, no matter how many times, even when I was younger and watched it, I was always like, oh, like just rubbed me so wrong is young Chuck duping Tuvia into blowing him. Oh, yeah. Like that scene every time just gives me hard icks. Like it just makes my palms sweat every time. I'm just like, no.
I loved all the movie theater shots. Where like the dates were like, don't kiss me. And like,
no, all that stuff is great. Like, and like, that's the thing too, is like all the, like, I'm not like trying to, completely squash all the blatant misogyny and stuff like that. But like all of that stuff, like all of him being like a creep and like trying to like, be a womanizer and all of that and kind of failing. And like all that's like hilarious and great. It's just like, there's just a couple that are like a little icky.
Yeah. There is that. And then I noticed this time around, they have actually a kind of a positive polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, no, I wrote that in my notes.
Strange, like
I was like, whoa, they're poly in the 60s.
They don't talk about it. They just live it. Like, all right.
But yeah, that's those are my like negatives at the moment until we move on to the second act.
Really? I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it, but
I understand how you're wrong, Chuck. But no, okay, yeah, you can keep talking.
No, that's great. Like I said, I've never talked to anybody about this movie, and I think it's because most people don't like it. It doesn't connect with them, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Well, you got to use the Chuck Starzensky method of cornering people.
Exactly.
Forcing it on them, Luke. That's how.
Welcome to my house. That you can put a microphone in front of your face. Yeah.
No, dates love it. Let me tell you, nothing impresses a girl like, hey, you want to come to my house and we'll watch a movie and see what happens. And then what happens is me boring the shit out of them by being like, well, no, you just don't. I understand where you're coming from, but if you could really just like, you don't understand. It was 1984. They weren't doing this. This is revolutionary. Yeah. So. Anyways, so for this movie's cocktail today, we have the Assassin's Teapot. So for those who aren't in the room with us and can't visually see what's happening, I made 3 beverages, placed them in front of us, and then did a little like 3-card Monty, ball in the cup, what you will, with the glasses so no one knows what they got. Directions for an Assassin's Teapot. Brew 2 glasses of iced tea and make 1 Long Island. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, very classic Long Island. It's half an ounce of gin, tequila, rum, vodka, and triple sec, topped with a little lemonade and a splash of cola. To serve, place the glasses in front of your guests and playfully swap the sugar cube around until no one knows which is which. Oh, hey, Javi, is that skyline always been this beautiful? God, I think I could retire in this city. Luke, when was that picture taken? That's a great photo, man.
And why is it moving?
Exactly. But no, Javi won / lost. I don't know. I think you won personally. Javi got the Long Island.
Oh man, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I think you skimmed me a little bit. There's not.
Did you even test yours? You haven't drunk yours
I mean,
yet.
there's. You could have told me there's no alcohol in mine.
I pulled the punches a little bit, kind of like this movie.
He said Long Island, he meant LSD.
It is a Long Island. I went very light on the pours because I was trying not to get anybody black out.
No, I can't even taste it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I finished it, so I can't let you try it, but it's just
I know, ironically, I'm the only one who hasn't finished their drink, and because I did end up with tea, this is a weird, quick non sequitur. I can wake up 6 a.m., drink black coffee, the most acrid thing I can make, stomach it, be perfectly fine. I can wake up, take a shot of 100 proof whiskey or shotgun a beer, be perfectly fine. If I drink black tea before 6 p.m., the tannins in the tea actually make me super nauseous.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's kind of why I've never been a big fan of red wine either. Because red wine, A, it's just never been my style. And then B, just the tannins, it's got to be the stars have to perfectly align for me to be you know what, that is a nice glass of Grenache. Absolutely.
He's just openly telling us how to poison him.
Exactly. So actually, I took 3 sips of this tea and I started getting that little kind of tannic tingle. And I was well, I don't want to feel sick. So I'm just going to.
No, for sure.
I also took a sip and was oh, God damn it. It's going to be a long day. Daddy needs his juice to get through.
It's not the hot one.
It's not the lager.
Well, thank you for the drink. It's delicious.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good. It was a great, very on theme. I loved it.
Exactly.
Yeah, didn't even think about that. Let's go ahead and take our ad break. And we're back with Act 2, The Evidence Board. Trivia, making of, behind the scenes, casting alternates, casting. So this film had been trying to get made since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
The rights were sold in 89 from Barris' book, I think, or even earlier. And
yeah, I couldn't find an exact date when I was looking. It just said late 80s, everything I saw.
Yeah, and it got optioned, and then it started to get made. People from Brian De Palma to...
yeah, I have a full list
of
people. Yeah. Okay, so potential directors over the years, because this movie was just in development purgatory for almost 20 years. And I'm going to try and list them oldest to newest. Jim McBride, PJ Hogan, Brian De Palma, Bryan Singer, Darren Aronofsky, Sam Mendes, and David Fincher all were fuck yes, sign me up. I want to make this movie. Never did, because it just never left the ground.
It cost $30 million to make. Clooney worked really hard to get it to that budget. He actually asked Julia Roberts and who else? Barrymore to take a huge pay cut.
Yeah, they got paid scale
so that they could actually fucking scale. If you can imagine that. Clooney too. That's what kind of passion project it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad Pitt and Matt Damon make really brief cameos as bachelors. They have no dialogue, but they're there. They were paid nothing.
Yeah,
literally just we're yeah, man, we'll do it. We'll roll in, just hang out on set for a day, sure. As long as we're talking about the hoops that Clooney went through. No one wanted, except for Clooney. It was his only choice as far as he was concerned. No one wanted
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah, thank you. I was stalling because I was his name is written down somewhere here. Sam Rockwell to be in the movie. So, went through Miramax and all of that to get it made. 2 of the things he had to do for Miramax and Uncle Harvey were he had to give away his first look deals for a film that he was working on called Full Frontal.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also was forced to make a cameo in Spy Kids 3D, which I think is hilarious. I think that's such a funny, weird Powerball move where it's you're puffing on your cigar as an exec, and you're just how about this? We get you film. All right, man. I was really looking forward to doing Full Frontal, but yeah, man, you can. All right. Also, what are you doing Saturday? Johnny Knoxville bailed. We need you to do a silly voice and make a couple goofy faces for Spy Kids 3D. Oh, I don't know, man. That's kind of beneath me. You know, I was in Out of Sight. I was in Spy Kids or we walk. We touched on it already, but yeah, Charlie Kaufman was quite upset and dissatisfied with the final cut of the film because Clooney went behind his back and hired script doctors and rewrote several key scenes, which you mentioned actually one of the scenes you enjoyed the most was the ending. That was one of the biggest changes, which I'm really curious to see what Kaufman's ending was.
Interesting.
Kaufman has since forgiven Clooney. You know, it's kind of like, it's Hollywood is kind of like how he's chalked it up, but he has completely disowned the film. Like he's like, you know, obviously it's on his IMDb and stuff, but as far as he's concerned, it's like struck from his record. He's like, nope, I didn't make that. I had nothing to do with that movie.
Yeah. Alternative casting.
Yeah. I have one more quick little fun fact.
Oh, go for it.
The Infamous, which like I definitely saw it like on YouTube and Daily Motion before I saw it in this movie, but the infamous Newlywed Game clip where it's like, where's the craziest place like you've ever been asked to make love? And the woman says, in the ass. That was thought to be lost forever on the cutting room floor. And apparently when they were like digging for archival footage to make this movie and like kind of, there's a bunch of fun little like clips from like American Bandstand with Dick Clark and like all that stuff. Apparently they were like siphoning and just trying to find like what they could use and what was cheap and like this and that. And I was just like, oh, whoa. Can we take this this scene that like should never have seen the light of day? Yeah. So like we have that clip because of this movie. Oh, it's pretty great.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Also, I don't know how true this is, but due to budget constraints, a lot of the scenes were actually just done in one take because they had to keep moving.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's another like testament to the love of filmmaking is you figure out how to blend scenes together to save money because you save on setups. But like, there's that one, like the one shot you're talking about when the dating game gets, or was it the Newlyweds gets picked up? Barris is coming back. It's dark, you know, welcome back the hitman or whatever. Yeah. And then, you know, it's a surprise party. The camera slowly tracks in and there's a party going on in the background and everyone's celebrating. And that TV show is on the television and that's where we go into. Fucking masterful, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the cinematography in this thing is fucking, whew.
Yeah. We almost had Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
As Barris.
Also almost had Ben Stiller. He was like gunning. He was like in the running for a long time.
And who was the other one? Mike Myers.
Mike Myers was also attached for a long time too. Also like, cause this movie, you know, 20 years of like, hey, we're going to do, no, we're not. Hey, no, we're not. Through the pipeline, there was Russell Crowe at one point, Edward Norton, Sean Penn, Richard Dreyfuss too. Richard Dreyfuss passed though because he was like,
I'm hating Richard Dreyfuss more and more. Yeah, he said he remembered Chuck Barris from his youth and like didn't like his.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I'm not. Fuck that guy. He's a monster. I don't want to play him.
What a diva.
Yeah. The role of Patricia was also originally supposed to be played by Nicole Kidman, but she dropped out.
She dropped out of a couple of films.
Yeah.
She dropped out of Panic Room.
Oh, really?
She was. They did like 6 or 9 weeks of Panic Room with her, and then she injured her knee or something, and had to restart that over.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was on the rewatchables. That was like a nightmare thing to film. Like a Fincher was like ready to fucking throw it in.
Jesus.
Yeah, you got
I just got one last one for alt casting because there was so many goddamn like iterations of this movie. The last two I have are for the role of Penny Pacino, who ultimately went to Drew Barrymore. I think she's fucking awesome in this. But could have been Renee Zellweger and could have been Gwyneth Paltrow at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine either of them doing this. It would have been a very different feel, I think. Less fun. I think Drew Barrymore made it fun.
Exactly. Yeah. No, she I can't picture like Gwen trying to be a cool, fun, poly 60s girl. Like that doesn't sound like
Renee either. They're just like not bubbly.
No.
The way Drew is.
Well, Renee would bring like that Bridget Jones thing to it, I think. I think she'd find a way. I feel like I had more faith in Renee Zellweger than Gwyneth Paltrow.
But yeah, same. Early on, there's a reference to Rosemary Clooney during the Page speech. That's his aunt, George Clooney's aunt. She was a singer for...
Oh, was she? I actually know that.
Little Hollywood royalty, little nepotism.
Yeah, exactly. Like his father, Nick Clooney, was a TV show or game show host, and Rosemary was a singer in like
what do
they call them, session bands?
Yeah,
for TV and stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
So just to run down the cast real quick, we have Sam Rockwell, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Drew Barrymore, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Robert John Burke, Rutger Hauer, and James Urbaniak. Did you guys see James?
Who is James in this?
Yeah, was he the I don't know if he's an executive or what you call him, but he's the guy that told him his shows were canceled.
Yeah, he's the messenger.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Don't shoot the messenger. Yeah.
Okay. I loved that bit. I loved that character. And that was also like this movie, like, I guess, and we'll get into it in 1 second when we get to nitpicks, but that was just a big part of it. Like, was like, there's so many parts where I was just like, fuck yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to, and then it was just kind of like, oh, okay. We're just, I don't know. I felt like punches got pulled left and right.
Right.
But I'm just being a little priss. It's not my movie. I can sit down.
It's all good.
I know. Usual Suspects was an easy one. You already mentioned her. Maggie Gyllenhaal, 40 Days, 40 Nights, directly in this movie.
Actually, one, it isn't tied directly, but Robert John Burke, unfortunately, replaced Peter Weller, RoboCop, for the horrible RoboCop 3.
I'm going to be looping the music on this one. We have multiple.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I just jumped in with my quick, I was like, wait a minute. I can make this free throw from here.
Yep, Robert John Burke was in RoboCop 2 and 3.
Was he in the second one?
Oh, the third one. The second and the third, yeah.
Yeah.
No, was it the second one? Or was it just the third one?
No, because he plays RoboCop.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's got to be the third one because
Weller's still in the second one, right?
I think so.
Weller's
I wrote it down wrong. There's 3 and 4, I think.
Oh, okay,
yeah. I was like, no, Weller's the second one, yeah.
And he's also a good 4 or 5 inches taller than Peter Weller.
Yeah.
So he didn't fit in the suit.
Oh no.
Yeah, we actually.
If you watch 3 and 4, he's not in the suit very much, and you don't see it all the way, like a full shot, because it's just got the top on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, before this podcast, a very early iteration that was kind of like a video essay version of this, we actually covered RoboCop 3. It never made the light of day, so maybe we could release that one day for the Patreon folk, but we had a little show we were working on called The Movie Doctors.
Fuck yeah, that's
right.
We
literally did RoboCop 3, and that was one of the big reasons why that movie sucks is because they got someone who couldn't fit in the suit. And so poor man, shot a few scenes and then it was just okay, seriously, I am going to get spinal injuries if I keep wearing this thing. Yeah. I am not wearing this fucking thing. So then half the movie RoboCop is quote unquote powered down. And so half the movie RoboCop's sitting or lying down. And he's I wish I could protect the city, but I can't because my CPU unit is damaged. I guess I'll fucking sit here even though I'm an unstoppable cyborg.
All right, you guys ready for my list?
Let's do it.
Please.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We got Robert John Burke doing that. This one's kind of a loose, but Sam Rockwell did 7 Psychopaths with Michael Pitt from Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Maggie Gyllenhaal and Drew Barrymore were in Donnie Darko with Jenna Malone from Saved.
There you go.
There's a lot of doubles in this. Maggie Gyllenhaal in Cecil B. Demented with Mink Stoll from Serial Mom and Ricky Lake. George Clooney and Robert John Burke are in Good Night and Good Luck. Have you guys seen that?
Not in a long time.
I recommend it. It's actually pretty important for journalism. It's talk about the love of cinema and film. They're in Good Night and Good Luck with Ray Wise, who's in RoboCop. He's one of the thugs. Okay, Julia Roberts and Daniel Zacapa, who played Renda. He was the guy, the Mexican man who was assassinated. They were in The Mexican with Bob Balaban from Ghost World. The dad from Ghost World. And as well as Brad Pitt.
Right, Brad Pitt was
in there. Rutger Hauer was in Blade Runner with James Hong from Big Trouble in Little China.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer was in Sin City with Josh Hartnett from 40 Days.
Okay.
James Urbaniak was in Legally Blonde 2 with Luke Wilson from Blue Streak.
Nice.
Michael Ensign, the spy boss in this movie. He's the older guy in the car.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Titanic with Billy Zane, who was in Back to the Future. Michael Ensign also in Solaris with George Clooney, and Lauren Cohn, who's not in this movie, but she's in Secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal. That's kind of a loose link there. And then it went into Drew Barrymore, and it's just all over the place. Not all over the place. She just has a lot of connections. She's been in a lot of big movies.
Oh, yeah. She's been doing it since she was 9 or something.
So Drew Barrymore was in Wayne's World with James Hong from Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know if you remember that.
Who is she in Wayne's World?
She's the dream girl, Thurgen Bjorgen or whatever.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit.
And then James Hong is Cassandra's father.
No way.
Jeff.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Wayne's World in a long time.
Yeah, that was Wayne's World 2. Drew Barrymore was in Scream with Matthew Lillard from Serial Mom. She was in Best Men, which I never saw, with Luke Wilson from Blue Streak, and Sean Patrick Flannery from Boondock Saints. She was in Home Fries with Luke Wilson, Blue Streak, and John Hawkes from Rush Hour and Blue Streak.
Right, yeah.
He's I didn't even know who he was until I started looking this up. He's in a lot of our fucking movies.
Oh, yeah.
John Hawkes?
Yeah, he's in most of our movies.
Yeah.
Let's see. She was also in Charlie's Angels with Luke Wilson. And Crispin Glover from Back to the Future. And I kind of my eyes started crossing at that point. And I just quit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you were like, yeah, I did a lot of research on this one. You were like, I went down a rabbit hole. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, you did.
It went on and on. And there's probably more. But I started going by ones that I had watched and knew.
Yeah.
So instead of digging because it would never have ended.
Yeah, exactly. And then especially I'm sure when you get down to some really nitty gritty, there's got to be some ER early Clooney crossover with people for sure.
I stopped doing TV stuff because everyone's done TV.
Exactly.
I wanted to try to do things where people actually on the same show together, the exact episode.
Yeah.
And spoke to each other, interacted.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all for fun.
And then, well, we haven't done this one, but I was just curious, just a side question that kind of has to do with this a little bit. Was Oceans before this or after this?
Oceans was right before this.
Okay.
So that's why Brad Pitt and Damon were there.
Yeah, that's also how he convinced Julia Roberts to be in it too.
Right, exactly. That's what I was curious. I was like, oh, is it?
Yeah, a lot of people from that movie are in this movie.
Sure.
Which is kind of funny. I like to think that George Clooney just doesn't act. That's just who he is. So he's
one of those guys. He's one of those guys for sure. Yeah.
He's like, Roberts, I got a job for you. Putting a crew together.
for those movies, he very much is George Clooney.
Yeah.
He's not, I think in Michael Clayton or The American, those are the movies he's acting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as he gets from himself.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have no offense to Clooney. I think he's pretty solid in most stuff, but it's he definitely, boy does not have range.
Yeah.
He's like, do you need me to be cool?
But he also, he gets paid more to be himself.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's why would you
Why stray?
Yep.
Nitpicks. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, easy one, fish in a barrel stuff is just all the fucking misogyny, just all the already kind of touched on it, but tricking a child into blowing you, just all that kind of fun stuff. My biggest nitpick is it's just me. I just remember this movie incorrectly. I just remember it just being a little bit more punchy. I feel like the pacing is a little off in this one. There's certain bits that don't hit because I feel like they just need to be either edited slightly differently or just put in different moments of the story. There's a whole bit where he's a womanizing fuck and Penny comes home and catches him with the woman, his secretary and all of that. And it's it is sad and whatnot. And it's you need to I just go do this somewhere else. This is our home. This is the life we built together and all that. And then that is followed with a really strange montage of clips of Drew Barrymore and him together, clips of Julia Roberts and him together.
Yeah.
And it was it should have been more of a Dark Night of the Soul with him looking at oh, this is the woman I love. And then this is all of the people that I fuck around with kind of thing. Cause it was Julia Roberts, she's in this movie and she does a great job, but she's not in this movie that much. So there was when they really went for her as his oh, do I pick door 1 or door 2 kind of thing. I was how much time have you spent with this woman that you're that hung up on Julia Roberts? And again, we're nitpicks, so it's a nitpick.
Well, I think that went on. They tried to use that to show the two different sides of his life.
Yeah,
for the most part, it wasn't.
I think so.
Right, she was in connection with the second life he was leading.
But again, I don't know. I feel some of it just wasn't. I just wanted it to be tighter, and stronger. So that was my big thing. And then this is two actual nitpicks. Keeler is introduced as a severe drunk and someone you need to watch and babysit. He is so put together the entire movie.
Well, that shows you how much Patricia's a liar.
Exactly.
A manipulator.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things of I was oh, I didn't see this man take a single drink except for that scene where they, are in the diner together. And then this one is this one got me a lot. The fucking saturation and exposure choices are distractingly jarring. I get what he's going for when he's doing the softer washes in flashbacks and stuff like that. But the one that I was oh man, this just feels like bad film school stuff was the weird saturation and overexposed washes on current day interviews.
Okay.
I don't know if that was meant to have it be like this is separate from the film and kind of dreamlike or something.
I thought that was the documentary part of it.
Yeah.
They tried to separate it.
But it was just a weird choice for that because I was just like, oh, this is like it's like Dick Clark is not the palest man in the world, but I can like barely see his skin. This is such a weird exposure choice. And like,
you can see that.
That was like a big thing for me as far as like, I was like, what are we doing? And then it would like, and I'd just get thrown off because then it would like go back to, you know, quote unquote current day in the film, like as far as like the 60s or whatnot. I'd be like, okay, like here we are. And then just like, I don't know. It just felt very like, sepia is not necessary every time kind of like mentality sort of thing for me. And again, these are nitpicks.
Yeah, that bothered me initially. But then as the film went on, I kind of...
Yeah, I got used to it for sure.
Yeah.
Like when they do like the final ones, like where they actually show Chuck, like the real Chuck and stuff like that. I was like, by then I was broken in and I was like, okay, this is fine.
Right.
Well, that was the end of the movie, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
By the end
that's when I had settled.
Jesus.
Fine, I'll accept it now.
Exactly.
No, it's over. Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, like I said earlier, I don't really necessarily have nitpicks. Just not my style of movie. And, you know, I guess my other thing is that I wish it had gone more kooky or more extreme or taken itself way more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I don't have anything.
That's what I figured. I was like,
I mean, of course, I look at this through rose-colored glasses. You know, it's just it's not even the nostalgia for me. I look at it as like nearly a perfect film.
You look at it through rose-tinted, oversaturated, overexposed glasses.
Well, I was going to answer you to that. I did read some stuff about what they chose and why.
Yeah,
because it's actually period specific for the decade. Because we go through like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I mean,
oh no, I saw what they were going for, and I saw that stuff too. I just, as a little nitpick, that's all. That was just kind of my thing. I was just like,
sure,
I see what you're going for. I don't like it.
I think it's more inside baseball too.
Yeah,
for Hollywood stuff, like for Clooney and Barris, who have been around television and film that long. It's like an inside joke for them. Not a joke, but like it matters to them more than anyone else watching.
Don't worry, we're not going to sit here and force you to nitpick through your favorite film, Luke. That's what we're here for.
I really couldn't think of like a category to nitpick. Like I couldn't. I mean, there's misogyny, but there's also very strong female characters in this.
Oh yeah, no, that's also kind of like it was a nitpick because it's like the misogyny is necessary because it's a portrait of a man's life, and it's like if he was a piece of shit misogynist, then you gotta cover that. You can't you would be doing a disservice to wash over that. And then I agree, like the female leads are really strong. Like there's no like damsels in distress by any means.
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty well balanced, well told. I'm always entertained by watching it. So all right, let's take our second ad break.
Yeah,
and we're back with Act 3, the award categories. And as always, we'd like to start out with who won the movie.
Yeah.
Best performance, most scene chewing.
I feel like there's a few people who could get this, but I mean, it's just one of those, like, it has to go to Sam Rockwell in my mind. He's so perfect. He fucking physically looks like the guy he's portraying too. He looks a lot like Chuck Barris.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't look into that. Does he actually?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look.
And I see why Clooney went to bat so hard for him. Also, like, I'm so glad Sam Rockwell got this movie because he was in some stuff before this, but this was like right around the time he took off. So I feel like this was kind of like almost a launch. If this movie wasn't a success, he at least had like, you know, some very powerful people behind him being like, this guy needs to be a star. Like he's got, Julia Roberts and Clooney going to bat for him like time after time. And so it's like, okay, like we'll cast this guy. We'll give him a shot.
I think it was, Clooney and Barris wanted Rockwell.
Yeah.
And I forget which one of them it was, but they said you can't have a famous person playing another famous person.
Yeah, that was Clooney. That was like his big thing.
Yeah. And like Rockwell was about to break, become a star. And this kind of launched him above that, which is good. I'm a huge Sam Rockwell fan. Yeah, everything he's in, I'll trust it. I'll watch it.
You know what's so funny? I discovered him like super late, and I'll be honest, I can't remember what movie. Like I think I saw him in 2 movies prior to quote unquote discovering him, and the 2 movies that he was in, I didn't enjoy particularly, and I kind of almost blamed it on him because I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He's just fucking annoying. And then I saw him in like, I don't know, whatever, like 3 Billboards or something, and I was like, holy fuck, this guy, or not even, maybe it was Green Mile or something. But I think
most people's exposure to him was Green Mile.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's, and then
he was very, very,
yeah.
not really his character,
right?
And not his demeanor. Very outlandish. Character for him.
And everything I've seen him in since, I was like, oh, he's fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to. I was gonna give it to Robert John Burke for that one scene as the FCC guy, but I also want to give it to Sam Rockwell's ass.
Oh yeah,
which makes far many more appearances than Robert John Burke.
I know. Yeah, like
4 times. That's the count. I made sure to note it.
You got 8 cheeks written down. All right.
Yeah.
He hangs cheek, doesn't hang dong. But yeah,
I think that's probably where Jean-Claude Van Damme and Tommy Wiseau maybe got their. Or no, well, he would have got it from Van Damme because Van Damme before.
Yeah.
That's right. He was caked up in Time Cop way before.
I had, honestly, I had George Clooney winning in just the sense that, like, it was a well-made film, right?
Yeah.
So as a director, right? And it wasn't his debut, was it?
It was his first. First
right.
movie,
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. So in that sense, I'm like, for being a debut, like, even with having like that already established star power, like, I thought it was well done, and so and. As always, I do enjoy seeing George Clooney on screen. I think he's great, no matter what he's in. Even if it's the same guy, I think he's great. And I could tell that was something that the subject matter was something that he was really interested in, like that didn't come out in the film. And so I was like, what, this guy did what he wanted to probably, and he had a great time, and he looks good. So I had George Clooney.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
My new band name.
I've got a lot, as per usual.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of my favorite categories, honestly.
I was thinking about it the other day, and it's a marriage of, because from the rewatchables, it's the racehorse name and most quotable line. So we put those together in this one category, and I think it works pretty well. So it's fun to do. Go for it, Chuck.
Yeah, I was saying, anyone can butt in at any point, because I do have quite a few. My first one is Tuvia Hates Strawberries. They'd be a jam band, like in the vein of like Fish or like the Grateful Dead or something like that. Very obvious reference on that one. Which I do love that's like a bit, is like they keep calling him Strawberry Dick and stuff like that. And I love that. I don't love the scene, but I do love that, like, the whole thing is like, this is what he's known for and yada yada. This woman hates strawberries, though, so it's like it's not a good thing to be known as Strawberry Dick, because it's like, it's clearly we didn't have a good time. Perry Como the ape, he'd be a backpack rapper, kind of like Adele the funky Homo sapien kind of thing. That's in reference to when Penny starts telling Chuck about one of her dreams, and he gets fucking wigged out. And she's like, whoa. She's like, we are not a couple. We are still just fucking. I just wanted to tell you about something that just happened to me. That's all it is. Take a breath, guy. Montessori's Revenge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they'd be, like kind of like a Vampire Weekend style, like kind of yacht rock, like sort of scenario. I do love that reoccurring bit that she just like gets her words mixed up and can't pronounce things.
Yeah.
The Assassination Enthusiasts.
Right.
They'd be a hardcore punk band. Because that's like one of the reasons why Clooney justifies why he's like, I don't know why I keep calling you. And he's like, well, clearly you're an assassination enthusiast. Poisoning Patricia. They'd be like a metalcore band. They would open for like Asking Alexandria or something like that. Helsinki is Wonderful this time of year. They'd be a very like avant-garde kind of eye-rolly, like, ooh, we do 13-minute songs where the only lyrics are humming, like that kind of thing.
I can one up you there. I wrote down especially the snow, and like just you'd have to know the movie to get the reference.
To get that one, yeah.
That would be like just that one little push over the edge for those guys.
And then my final two, and again, anyone can butt in. My final two are Better Get Cracking. They would be like a two-piece Black Keys kind of band, like a blues rock revival. And it's one of my favorite quotes in the movie. Is Harrison's like, hey, man, I'm like, I'm in my early 30s. I already got 2 shows on television, like, give me some slack. And Clooney hits him with, well, Jesus was alive and dead by 33. You better get cracking, bud. And then my last one, couldn't think of a fun band name, so it's more of a song title. It's Leave the Microfilm In, Baby.
I got the same.
Yeah. That was my favorite interaction between
that's great.
Yeah, Rockwell and Roberts.
I have a Constant Inarticulate Rage.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's like one of my favorite set of 3 words ever written down or spoken. Probably a punk band. And then Life Was Sweet for a minute.
Yeah.
It's on the level of Little Did He Know.
Exactly.
You know, in literary terms.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. Like that you got, I guess, but especially this No. I've watched this movie so many times. Every time I start writing a film, I have to keep those words from getting in there.
Yeah. I mean, it can be a little callback. There's 2 I didn't write down, but like, I wish I would have actually, I took notes on paper, did not make it to my phone where I do my little podcast notes that come out of my mouth. But the bit that you touched on early on, like where it's like the old game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is like, oof, that one gives me chills every time. And then the intro monologue about like, what do I have to show for like, you know, a life not lived and like all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's right up there with the like, you know, things were sweet until they weren't.
Mm-hmm. I had Strawberry Lollipop.
Nice.
I had to, yeah, I was like, that's the first one that popped into my head, has to be, you know, on there. No idea what genre they'd be, but it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
The Gong Show, which is obvious the name of the show, and that actually, I wonder if that actually might be, honestly, it's something. But
there's got to be some Gong Show references out there because that thing was so iconic. Like,
yeah,
I have never seen an episode, but my mom would reference it all the time. Like, just funny. Like, yeah. My name is Chuck, so she'd hit me with like the unknown comic, like, hey, Chucky kind of thing all the time.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know, I'm like, dude, I'm like 6. I've not seen this show that got canceled in 74. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what we're going for here, but yes.
And it's definitely a ska band, by the way. And I got 3 old guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Updated movie title.
Absolutely fucking not is my answer to that. Unless you want to pull like one of the quotes we just spoke from. I say, no, dude, it's literally the title of the book. It's also a great title at that. It's like one of my favorite, like just Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is like such a like, oh, what is that? I think that's probably why I rented it as a 14-year-old. I was like, oh, what is that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it needs an alternative title. You know, like you kind of like Chuck. I mean, when you specifically, you know, when you said, hey, we're going to do this film, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Right. You know, so definitely it's a attention grabber. I mean, I know in the question we have like, what would it be if it was released today? So that's kind of the way I took this question here. And so I was like, if it came out today, like, the movie studios would probably call it like the game show host. They would just be like straight, you know, because there's a lot of that, just like, oh, it is what it is kind of thing, you know, like the house, the you know, whatever. So yeah, I figured the game show host, you know.
I always thought the original title was great too, but then rewatching it this time, I realized how many references they did to Nabokov and Carlyle and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I just wrote down, I am disposable.
Yeah.
That would be a catchy.
That was a quote I definitely wrote down for sure, but that is beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's great.
All the information I have about myself is from forged documents.
Yeah.
I just fucking love that. And that's like a throwaway line from Nabokov too. He wasn't really, I don't know. I tried to look it up and it's couched in a bunch of other stuff, but.
Yeah, all the literary references in this are all like, they normally, like they make my eyes roll. Like one of my least favorite things in The Departed is like, Mark Wahlberg's like, what the fuck brings you here, chief? Like, da-da-da. And DiCaprio's like, well, you know what they say. Families are always rising and falling in America. Like, kind of thing. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with you wanting to be a cop? Like, get out of here. Go. No. I would also, like, hit him with the, like, South Boston, like, fuck you kind of thing. Because, like, no, that's not an answer.
I think there was the one guy at the bar, the fuck you guy.
Yeah.
He had kind of a Boston accent.
He also kind of, you know, had that, like, very, like, okay, well, this is a weird, condescending, one-sided, pretentious conversation you're putting me in.
Fuck you. Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award for cinematography.
I feel like you have the entire movie. So if you want to do your greatest hits, but otherwise, if you want to start it, Javi, if you've got a few.
No, honestly, I was gonna. I actually. The one scene that did stand out to me, you already touched base on, which was the zooming in on the television in the corner. Yeah, that was really cool, and I enjoyed that. Yeah,
I just love the storytelling. I mean, when you're forced to be creative with a lower budget, you're forced to be a little more creative with your storytelling, and it's obviously what happened here. And it's just, I love it.
Yeah, the cinematography in this is like at an expert level operation. My 2 favorites that I wrote down are there's the one shot of Chuck touring the studio, asking to become a page, becoming a page, leading a tour, and then eavesdropping on the two girls in the break room. That's just like masterfully done.
Yep.
It's so good.
You covered, a week, two weeks in one shot.
Yeah. And it's like one of those, there's clearly no cuts. Like it's clearly just like, all right, Rockwell, like you're going to go over here. Like we're going to throw a coat on you. You're going to walk this way. We're going to throw a suit on you. And then, yeah, it's fucking masterfully done.
That took 1 day to set up.
Exactly.
A couple hours to shoot. When it could have been easily been 10 setups and more. Yes. That's just so good.
And then the other very specific one is we've already talked about how like they kind of use the flats almost like you would in a play. The phone call with Goldberg, where he's in his room and, gets the announcement that they're going to pick up the dating game. The wall, he just steps over as they like shift the flat and you see the boardroom. And then to add kind of the fun of that, which is one of those things like, wish this was in it a little bit, just a touch more like in some of the CIA stuff, because all the like fucking game show stuff is so great. Penny is literally dancing through his boardroom. And it's just like,
Yep.
It tells you everything. Yeah. Everything you need to know of like, how supportive she is of him and like all of that. It just fucking plays. It's so good.
Yep. I have that as that's the first one I wrote down is the phone call with Goldberg. The dating game idea pitch when Barris freaks out about the relationship thing. He's staring at the mirror and it just goes into his eyes. And then they move the scene. I think they do an actual post switch. It's not an actual in-camera thing. But yeah, it switches to him in the boardroom pitching it to the same guy, Goldberg.
Oh, you know what? Also, real quick, the scene where he comes out on stage and he's like, I'm ready, take me now, something to that effect. And then you have the guy in the rafters like, yeah, that. And then everybody just comes in and starting back to the, doing their little, the song and dance and everything. And that was, Yeah,
it's this fucking tense moment.
Yeah.
What would you do if your host, your writer, your creator had a mental breakdown in the middle of hosting your show? A few of he's got a gun on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I just noticed this time too, the new house, I'm pretty sure they're doing a drive up Mulholland Drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that road that they're driving up. So it's a pretty famous road.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite shots that I've always loved, it's not even, I don't know, probably doesn't even stand out that much, but Jim Bird on the diving board at the end.
Oh, yeah.
The blood sinking into the pool.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, I just, that stuck with me. The first time I watched it, it's like, wow. Yeah, I mean, there's so many more. The whole film is really, really well done, thought out, problem solved.
Yeah.
They solved a lot of problems. It looks great.
Yeah, it's like any issues I have with the movie are not with the cinematography and the set design and like shot layouts by any means.
Yeah, right.
And I just love the noir aspect of it. As he gets deeper and deeper into the killing, it gets more and more noir-y. Like the noir surf guitar music kicks in. Which is like the theme song for this podcast. I just lean into it as hard as it'll fucking go. It's like as masochistic as you can be. Is that Channing Tatum in a Dog Collar Award?
Yeah, awarded to unexpected cameos or bit parts.
Yeah. So I know we've already mentioned a couple. So I got the two that I'm pretty sure haven't been mentioned yet. One, Michael Cera.
Yeah, that's mine.
Strawberry Dick.
I saw. I was like, that's. I had to Google it. I was like, that's absolutely Michael Cera.
Baby Michael Cera. Like he's like got to be like 12 or something.
Yeah,
like he's so young.
Yeah. I think the next thing I saw him in was Arrested Development, and I was like 5 or 6 years later.
Exactly.
Like, geez, I didn't think he was that young in this movie.
And I got Richard Kind too.
Yeah.
Which actually that kind of upset me because then I thought, he's going to be in it for a little bit, and then he wasn't. I was like, damn it.
I got Richard Kind blue balled. I love Richard Kind so much.
The other movie title I thought of but didn't write down was If I Had a Hammer.
Oh yeah. I had a hammer.
Yeah. Michael Cera. We got Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Robert John Burke.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys watched Tombstone?
Not in years, but I will be your Huckleberry.
Have you ever seen?
No, that's the one with
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, there you go.
Tons of people.
No, yeah, I know of it, but not.
But Robert John Burke's in that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great. I really hope we get to do that. I'm pretty sure Taylor would like to do.
Oh, we'll do it. Don't worry.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple other things too. Like he's one of those guys that just will pop up too, and like, that's that guy.
Yep. That's all I have for that. It's a sailboat award. Themes. I have too much fun watching this movie to analyze it for themes.
Honestly, this is my favorite thing about the movie is like the kind of, and this is what I have for like a deeper meaning. And this is kind of like probably bleed into the Neil Breen Award when we get there. But for me, it's, we embellish and tell lies about ourselves because we're scared that our lives are too bland and uninteresting. Because only interesting stories get remembered. No one ever wants their legacy or lack thereof to be forgotten. Wasted time and fear of a life not lived seem to be the two biggest reoccurring themes in the entire movie. And it's something that when they happen, that's what hits me super hard. And I wish for the love of God, they would have leaned a little more into it. Because because it's like, clearly that's like what he's going for kind of thematically with some stuff. And it's like, if you would have done a little bit more like playfulness with the like, is he a CIA agent, or having things bleed together a little bit more, then it is like, I just want that desperation a little bit more. Because like I've never read the book, but it's like it makes me wonder like if in the book there's a little bit more desperation of like, yeah, I was the host of a TV show, and like, yeah, man, I had like some really fluffy like reality TV kind of things, but no, I was somebody, I was a hitman, I was like, no, this is important, like this is me, look at me, please. Like that's kind of seems to be the theme, like, and that's also that final speech about the old game is like that's what that is just like, and
that's kind of how the book came about, was that after his, long TV career, despite having all that success, he holed himself up in a hotel room for 2 years and wrote that book as maybe a way to try and reinvent himself to like cover up the fear that he didn't live his life to the fullest.
Which I wonder if like because again, we'll never know, because that Kaufman script I don't think exists anymore, but like I wonder, because Kaufman loves to do shit like that, like with Schenectady, New York, and like, what is it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's not I Think You Should Leave, because that's the amazing sketch comedy show, but it's...
Malkovich?
What was that?
Malkovich?
No, it's the one that they put out for Netflix not that long ago that I feel like nobody watched, but
the Kaufman one?
Yeah.
I'm thinking
fucking
of
incredible. Yeah.
I'm
thinking of Any Things is so fucking good. And it's got those elements that I feel like, because they weren't in this, ended up in later works.
Sure. Hans Gruber Deathfall Award?
Yeah. I feel like there's an easy one, but my favorite death is Keeler strangling the agent in Germany.
Colbert, yeah. That's what I wrote down.
Take my picture. And he's like, the fuck? Like, no. And then he's like, dude, like, just like, kind of gives him the like, look, dude, if you don't take this picture, you're next. Like, take the fucking picture.
Yeah, that was great. That's a good one. I just had Julia Roberts' death scene.
Patricia at the end. Yeah,
Patricia, thank you. That's her name. Yeah, Patricia.
Yeah.
Just because that funny, it did catch me off guard. Because I was like, wait a minute, like he's still alive, right? Like why is he dying? And up until this time in the film, they hadn't done any of those like, oh, but that's not really what happened kind of moments. So I was like, how are they gonna And then it was like, oh no, he just switch the glasses.
That's again, I'm sorry to be so fucking nitpicky with this one, but it's like this movie is one of those things where it's like, it is good and I do still enjoy it, but there's just like, it could be like this much better. Like there's that bit where they show him getting married and then it's like, I do. And then you hear like the fucking funeral bells and you see the Barris written on like, there's no information about a wedding. It's just like Barris, like 12:30. And you see the fucking hearse pull away and then they come out.
Yeah.
That would have been so much stronger if you had him on the floor, and her making her final monologue where she tells him, she does the fucking Bond villain come clean and all that. And he says something, maybe like one of his like very fucking depressive like lines of dialogue, and then all of a sudden like, oh shit, he's dead, like funeral, and then we see him coming out, and then you could do like a cut back into the actual scene and be like, well, this is what really happened. I don't know, there's a lot of those moments that I was like, oh, things would be so much punchier with just like a couple little we just cut here and we move this scene here. But again,
don't touch my movie, Jack.
I'm not gonna do it.
Controversial hot take.
Yeah, this might be my last episode.
You had a good run, man.
That's the hottest take, probably. I got one, but I'll if anyone else wants to go first.
Go for it, Chuck.
Okay. Don't strangle me, Luke. But this is a very watered down Paul Thomas Anderson movie, is how I felt about it. Like, I was like, I'm very glad that Clooney directed because he drug it by its bootstraps out of development hell. Like this movie would not exist without him. We also wouldn't have Rockwell without him. And I think like this movie without Sam Rockwell would be a crime. But if like PTA or like Fincher got their hands on this, I feel like there's certain things that would just be so much like just, you know, it would give me that little like those little punches that I want. And it does have a very PTA feel to a lot of like the 60s revival stuff, which I will get to when we get to our pairings.
Sure.
Because there's a movie that this reminded me of so much that I was like, oh yeah, like god damn, what would it be like if PTA made this?
I guess I would say we're on Hot Take, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest PTA fan.
That's okay.
Oof.
Yeah. I do love his movies, but it's a bit one trick pony.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that I love. That's the thing. I'm
not knocking him in any way.
Yeah.
But like, I don't see an evolution in any way.
Yeah.
But I could also say I haven't studied him that much, but like, I don't flock to his movies. I like them.
I almost had a PTA pick for my next movie.
Oh.
Yeah. Won't say anything, but I almost had it.
We're doing two Charlie Kaufman movies. Eternal Sunshine's.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe I should change mine. We should just do
Kaufman.
I was just going to fuck it, dude. Do Schenectady. I love that movie.
There you go.
But
I wrote down for a controversial hot take, Sam's ass. Great butt.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know I feel like that's renowned. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know it was that good, but
I don't see a lot of dudes' butts, but yeah.
Yeah.
No,
he rocks it very well.
CGI on that one. It's just all out there. And like, I don't know, like, do you remember Sam Rockwell from movies before this?
I don't. That's why I'm saying,
because he's been in a few really good ones, but I remember him from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No fucking way.
He's the lead. What's the Foot Clan?
Oh,
he's one of the lead thugs.
He's a Foot Clan guy?
Yeah.
Holy
shit. He's the leader when they go into their lair for the first time.
That's incredible.
And he's also in this film called Basquiat, which is about the artist.
Yeah.
And he's just a thug.
Okay.
In that movie too. He just like has a very small bit scene, and like that's where I knew him from. And then I started seeing him in these kinds of movies. And I was like, yeah, he's got so much. I don't know. He can act.
Oh, he's amazing.
Oh, he's fucking great.
Yeah.
He also has the okay, so I know Samuel L. Jackson is the master of motherfucker, right? Sam Rockwell is the master of fuck.
Yeah.
Anytime he says fuck, it's the best. He just
pretty good.
Fuck. I know. I don't know, but I know. You know, when I was watching the movie last night, I was like, oh yeah, you know, and I started thinking of other times in other films, and I'm like, yeah, he does. Like, there's something about. You just put so much flavor on it. It's great. I love it.
Tastes great every time he serves it up.
Yeah, I guess the only, you know, quote hot take that I have, which kind of, you know, ties into what we've already said, what Chuck just kind of covered a little bit of, like, you know, not being punchy enough. I feel like Sam Rockwell wasn't Sam Rockwell enough, right? But, you know, like, I wish he had been more, you know, which again,
I think he tried too hard to be Chuck Barris.
Yeah.
He was not going quite method, but he was studying really hard. He like lived with them for a couple months.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Before he even auditioned.
Yeah.
To like get his mannerisms and
yeah
things like that. He wanted this too. So time for another Spider-Man award. Could this be remade? Or, I mean, would you stick to the story, or would you kind of change it a bit? Or
I think for my remake idea, I would just love to see Kaufman's original script to the letter. And just like put that in capable hands. Whether like Clooney wants to take another stab at it and just have it be like, okay, like I'm going to do all my cool stylistic shit. I'm just going to but we're going to follow like to the letter, or putting it in the hands of someone who like isn't necessarily a good writer, but is a great director, you know, like someone like a Fincher or like Aronofsky or someone like that, where it's like, oh yeah, like, you know,
even PTA,
someone like that, where it's like, oh, it's like, you know,
Michael Mann
would be amazing.
Yeah, we'd have a Heat.
Exactly.
Heat Confessions. I love it. Yeah, I'm down for seeing other versions.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is it's like, because it's a book too, I'm always like, anytime there's multiple versions of a movie based on a book, I'm always like much less like foam at the mouth, like don't touch my movie or anything, because I'm like, oh yeah, dude, like yeah, this is a fucking Shakespeare play. Like, they can make it as many times as they want. This is a book. This is totally fine to do, you know?
And I kind of think it has been. I can't think of any titles right now, but there are. And like, I think you probably even have the movie that reminded you of it from earlier. This movie's been made before.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would say I'm ready for another one.
Yeah, why not?
I love it so much. I would happily watch another one.
And if anything, just prove you right. If the new one really sucks, then it's like, okay, well, we tried. And like, Luke was right the whole time.
Well, there's that. But, no, but I think it could be updated for today too. Like, a lot of these references are from like you and me were probably the only people who've ever seen the Gong Show or reruns of it. Or you watched it, right? You watched the Gong Show.
No, I did not.
Was it you?
No.
I watched the shit out of the Dating Game and Newlywed Game.
Yeah,
I've seen clips of the Gong Show, but it was like, but also like, I don't know. I'm a fucking weirdo. I used to love the Game Show Network. Like, I never had it as an actual channel, like when I had cable, but like I would go to my friend's house or like my dad's or something like that and be like, oh, hell yeah, we're watching fucking 70s reruns of Family Feud or like, let's make a deal. Like, let's do it.
Was it $60,000 pyramid or whatever?
Yeah, like $10,000 pyramid. Yeah.
That's not a lot of money.
It was back then.
Be Kind, Please Rewind award. Would you recommend this to anybody?
Again, I mean, if it was something that was, kind of up their alley, for sure, like again, because it's totally noir. Like, I get it. So if I was talking to someone, who likes things in that vein, I'd be like, hey, my buddy really likes this. Check it out. Like, I saw it's, so for sure. I wouldn't be like, don't watch this.
I think even the star power of the people that are in this has changed and faded. Not faded so much, but it's gone to a different generation of people so far now. It's like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like, you couldn't show it to someone like a teenager today.
No.
It just wouldn't make sense or it wouldn't land. I don't know, but I would recommend it. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. If you like haven't already seen it, it's, has its flaws, but overall it's a really fun, stylish pseudo biopic, and Sam Rockwell's fucking spectacular. That being said, again, this might be my last podcast. Might be my final rewatch. I don't know. I just I still enjoyed it this time around, but I just when sometimes you revisit something and it just kind of like takes it down a peg, just a touch. It was like one of those for me where I was like, I don't love this as much as I used to.
It's going to be on my TV every time you come over to my house.
That's okay. Hey.
You're just giving me an excuse to watch it more.
Yeah, dude,
that's so funny.
The Neil Breen Struggle for Relevance Award. Again, not too, themes, whatever. I put down Killing is Bad, ... question mark, in Neil Breen fashion.
It's funny, when the movie first started, in sort of the direction that I kind of thought it was going in, I did see some parallels in between, like, just kind of the ickiness of his shows and kind of what's going on currently with, TV and like just super sexual. I mean, I don't know, but just everything's super sexualized, and the whole, like, they were freaking out over, them being like, oh, the stuff they were saying on the dating show. And it's like, now it's like, no, they're straight up sucking dick on TV. Like, it's, or whatever, like it's
always been this way.
Yeah.
A good tie into that idea is Good Night and Good Luck. It's a movie about like, I think it was Hearst, like newspapers and radio. It's about journalism, but it's about radio and about commercialism taking over. And instead of people just getting the news, they're getting entertainment out of it. So like, commercials sell better when you have sensational stories versus people who want to deliver the news and like be responsible.
Yeah.
It's a really good film. It's just, I think it's really important for media literacy. From, the 40s that people don't think about or know about today.
Yeah.
And it's got all these great people in it. And it's black and white, and I fucking love it. Everyone smokes. It's fucking awesome.
God. Bring it back. I love seeing smoking in movies. Like, I don't smoke cigarettes, but when I see it, I'm just like, hell yeah. Like, you know what? Life is short, bud. Light up. But yeah, for my, the themes and relevance, I say yes, because again, like, I feel like the overall theme of the films that keep getting touched on are like not wanting to be forgotten and not wanting to, waste your potential and live a life of regret. And, I
find that really ironic because I love this movie, but maybe I don't identify with it because I don't I don't catch those themes or feelings at all from it.
Maybe I identify with it too much.
Well, I picked up on that too. Yeah,
I know that that's what they're going for, but I don't have those feelings. Like I think I'm connecting with it on a completely different level than even the themes that they tried to promote.
Well, good for you, Luke.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, no, I mean that's good.
Screw you guys.
It's like hell yeah, way to have better mental health.
Yeah, no, they had the whole line right about what do you say? Yeah, you're 32 and you haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah, that
I was
whole
like,
bit. Oh yeah, no, there's bits in this like, oh god, like the fucking old man one is like, it's like, is the Sam Rockwell movie gonna make me cry? Rainy Day Pairing, best double feature or movie to enjoy this under a blanket at home with some snacks and whatnot.
I'll be honest, I couldn't think of one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hand that off to you guys.
I got Moon.
Oh, I fucking love Moon.
You haven't seen Moon?
Moon, is that the Jared Leto one?
No, it's Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell and Sam Rockwell.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. For some reason, I thought it was Jared Leto, yes, I know what you're talking about.
And unfortunately, Kevin Spacey,
Mm-hmm.
but only as a voice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know of it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Talk about sad and depressing.
Oh yeah, no, that movie's incredible. That's also like talk about fucking Sam Rockwell. Like that's like a powerhouse performance of just like, okay, Sam, like like
they let him cook and then they let him cook and they let him cook.
Yeah. And then you're full, and he's like, well, too bad I made dessert.
And then as a runner-up, I have Choke.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Choke in a long time. I think I'm ready for Choke again. I just remember like reading the book and it was being, my little disgusting edgelord self and just like really loving Polinick and being like, oh, the book's so much better. But now I'm like,
the books. I love that they're different.
They're different. Yeah.
Because we get two. We get a great book and a great movie. It's like, they don't have to be, derivative of each other or exact or whatever. I just love them both.
So yeah, I kind of alluded to it earlier. For my rainy day pick, it's a PTA movie that this reminded me quite a bit of Inherent Vice.
Okay, I do like that one.
I fucking love Inherent Vice. That's a movie that the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And I kind of tuned out a little bit. I think I might have been a little hungover or something. But like the second time I watched it, I was just like glued and enamored. And I was like, oh my God.
I think I need to watch it a second time.
Yeah, because
I do remember liking it.
Boogie Nights was always like my favorite PTA movie, and then I saw fucking Inherent Vice. I think that's my favorite PTA movie, honestly.
Wow,
funny. Might be my least favorite.
Not even Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love's great too, but I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know.
Inherent Vice better.
Yeah, I just do.
Right on.
Yeah, again, going back to my edgelord tendencies. Maybe I'm just a big Joaquin fan. I don't know. The Sonic Death Monkey Top 5. We've got a list of films with deep emotional or esoteric relevance to this movie. For our question this week, we have, what are your top 5 all-time movies that have an unreliable narrator?
Okay.
So pretty much every movie that Luke loves is going to be on this list.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have my top 5 and some runner-ups. So, some honorable mentions.
Sure. Yeah. All right. I can go first.
Yeah, go for it.
My number 5 is Life of Pi.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh.
Can you give me a...
Yeah, it's basically just...
Tell me on it.
Yeah, it's an Indian boy and his family, right? And they get stuck out at sea, it's not a spoiler because that's basically the whole movie.
Sure.
And, he's got to fend for himself out there.
Okay.
In the wreckage, basically.
Cool.
Well, I mean, that's as far as I can go into it without... Yes.
That's fine.
But that it fits the category. And,
right on. I've also never spoken to anybody about that movie. So, but now that I know you like it, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, gorgeously shot too. If you can watch it on a bigger screen.
I remember studying the VFX for it. They did a lot of VFX with the tiger and stuff. So yeah, cool.
Yeah. For number 4, I got Forrest Gump.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have to be that guy.
You don't trust. You don't trust Forrest. You don't believe everything he said. What?
I don't want to sound like an ableist, but no, I don't.
No. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like it's an adorable, unreliable narrative, but it is. Yeah.
That's funny.
I have it on there. Number 3, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. I fucking love that movie.
I do too.
You are right. You are definitely right.
Yeah. And I figured it. I mean, I don't know if it 100% counts, but I figure since like a retelling of a retelling.
I completely forgot. Like pretty much all of Wes Anderson's films are narrated. So I'm like,
and they're all unreliable narrators for the most part because it is just like someone looking at it with rose glasses or with fucking Grand Budapest. It's reading a book that is then that's the layers on layers.
Yeah, really good pick, man.
Which I'm going to check out Asteroid City tonight. So.
Has that come out today?
Yeah, it's out today.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I'm so hyped.
Number 2, which my number 2 is probably what what may have kind of not ruined this movie for me, but this and other things similar is the Wolf of Wall Street. That's my number 2. And again, just because I a lot of what I assume is embellishment or that question of like, is it or is it, did it not happen? And just like how, it very well could have, with just the insane, disgusting amount of wealth that's around like nowadays, and it's just fucking fantastic movie. And even though it's 3 hours, 3+ hours long, I will watch it any day of the week, anytime, any amount of time. It's fucking amazing. Yeah. And the number 1, which is one of my favorite movies, is Big Fish.
Nice.
Big Fish.
Good one.
It gets really me. It gets me, and it's just that's the whole essence of the story is the unreliable narrator and like,
Yeah, really good. That was almost on my list. I want to rewatch that one again for sure. Go for it, Chuck.
Okay. I was like, I tried to go more Luke Loaned on this one. Well, as far as like, just like, because there's like,
I'll see what you got.
Well, there's like 3 big ones that come to mind. And I was like, I'm not going to do those 3. Like, just because it's like, it's like.
So you're calling me a sellout.
No. I'm just saying like, and it's okay if Fight Club is on your list, but it's like one of those.
2.
It's one of those things though, where I'm like, of course you should see Fight Club, but I'm trying to recommend some other stuff. Number 5, which is kind of and I'm going to do no spoilers for any of these other than just mention that number 5 is kind of in the Fight Club vein. High Tension.
Oh, fuck.
It's
so good.
a hyper violent, I forget, there's like a term for it. It's a French extreme, I think is what they called that movement. But yeah, it's a hyper violent French extreme film about 2 girls staying at a cabin who are terrorized by a serial killer, for lack of a better term. And without any spoilers, it's fucking gnarly. It's beautifully shot. It also like explores like queerness and like vulnerability and like all these like things that I hadn't seen in a movie like that. Cause this is like in the era of like Saw and Hostel and all that. And not to say that it's not in that vein.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you can do one of those and have something to say? Holy shit. This isn't just like, rah, rah, like look at her like fucking teeth getting cut out, right.
So good.
It's so good. My number 4 was Wolf of Wall Street.
Nice.
Like, I fucking love that movie with a passion. And I remember the first like scene and it's one of the scenes that always sticks out in my mind, aside from Benny fucking Hanna, is when he's like talking about his opulence and he's like, yeah, like I had a blue boat. And it's like, no, it was red. Yeah. No, it was white. No, it was, and you're watching the car change colors like in front of you. It was so fucking brilliant. Like I was just like, oh, okay. Like it also just tells you exactly what you're in for.
Yeah.
Number 3 is my favorite Lifetime Channel original movie. It's called Gone Girl. It literally is David Fincher making a Lifetime original movie. And it's so fucking good. Like just like the flipping of narrators too, without any. And again, I don't want to give any spoilers for any of these things if no one's seen them. But
I still need to watch it.
It's like, so good. It's the way they flip narration between Ben Affleck and Rosemary Pike is fucking like it's just like dude, it's David. There's a reason why David Fincher is who he is. Like he's just in another class.
Yeah.
My number 2 is a movie that does not get enough love. No one talks about it really. Annihilation.
Oh, Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. I haven't seen that one.
It's
Alex Garland.
Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And the books are great too. If you ever get a chance to read the books, they're phenomenal. But yeah, it's a insane, like sci-fi epic essentially. And the whole time, and again, no spoilers, but the whole time you're like, okay, like there's little bits of the story that you're kind of clued in on that you're like, oh, that's kind of weird for her to say, or like this or that. And then it's like, you're kind of like, it's breadcrumbing you the entire time. And then when the twists happen, you're like, oh, and it's like, much like Alex Garland's movies, like they just leave you with, and that's kind of his thing. It's definitely his auteur, his niche is just this kind of like heavy breath dread and like questioning, what is humanity at the end of the day? Like it's just, God. Anyways, go check out Annihilation if you haven't seen it.
Right on.
And then talk about a wild card. My number 1 is an anime.
Those aren't allowed.
I know. It's a feature length anime, so it counts. It's Perfect Blue.
I just learned about that film the other day.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Dear God. Perfect Blue. It's in my like top 5 favorite animes of all time. It is essentially, without any spoilers, it is basically a predated Black Swan, like the Aronofsky movie. But yeah, it's a woman dealing with the pressures and troubles of fame, to put it very politely, and no spoilers. And yeah, it's just talk about like, if you want to see like horror animation, like done right, it's like, oh God, it's just fucking unnerving.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good.
I read some great things about that last night. I just learned about it.
Yeah, that was a movie that like when I saw it, I was like so mad that I hadn't seen it prior. Like it was when I was like, this came out in 97 and I'm just seeing this. Like, I hate myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like Chuck Barris, wasted potential here.
All right, for my top 5 with an unreliable narrator, I had to think long and hard about this, and I do have Fight Club at number 2.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. That movie's yeah,
it's one of it's like seminal in my film upbringing.
Oh, we will do it on the show. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. But it's like it's been talked about to death and all that, but it's been important in my filmmaking ideology. I don't know, the way I think about movies and narration and stuff like that. But for number 5, I have The Machinist.
Ooh. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Which kind of is spoilery to give it an unreliable narrator label. But if you haven't seen it, too bad. Watch it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Kind of obvious, but
that was on my
spoiler alert. That kind of, I mean, again, that came out around the same time as Fight Club, and it was like, wow. It was films that just blindsided everybody.
He's been chasing that dragon ever since. Old Shamalama Ding Dong. He's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And number 3, with apologies to Peter Green, the Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
And the apology is because Peter Green was in Blue Streak, and I forgot to mention that he was in fucking Usual Suspects in the Usual Suspects segment.
Right.
Number 2 is Fight Club. Number 1, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I'm sorry.
There you go.
This is my favorite.
Sure.
One of my favorite films anyways. Honorable mentions, Fallen.
Yeah. I forgot about that movie. I was like, that's on that list of, and you can tell me to shut the fuck up at any point, because I just do this all the time. That's like on that list of movies that I have seen at a young age, you know, waking up in the middle of the night to get like a glass of water, can't get back to sleep, turn the TV on, and then you're like engrossed and you're like, oh, this was a terrible thing to take in at 9 years old right now at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it. Which one's that one?
So it's Denzel Washington. I don't remember if he's a cop or detective or not, but he's trying to solve a murder, and it ends up being supernatural. There's actually a demon possessing people in it.
Oh, the one with John Goodman.
I don't remember if he's in it.
Yeah,
but it transfers by touching people.
Oh yeah, John Goodman. Yeah, John Goodman's like the second lead.
Okay.
In that. Yeah, he's in that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it's being.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
You don't know throughout the movie because you're following Denzel.
Yes.
At some point, Denzel becomes possessed, and you don't know.
Yes.
So it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's right. I have seen that. And that's great. Yep.
I also have American Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that was actually narrated by Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
But totally love it. And then Eternal Sunshine. Just kind of, I have to mention it in every episode we do anyways. So
hey,
yeah, that's true.
You get to mention it ad nauseum pretty soon here because we're doing that one.
It'd be ironic if I didn't mention it at all during the episode where we're supposed to talk about it.
Your guy got nothing to say, man. It fucking sucks.
Just man up, Joel. Man up. On to the epilogue. I don't want to throw you guys a curveball, but I'm going to let this live.
Yeah.
This is,
you sure?
I'll be watching this again probably tomorrow. No.
Nice.
Hey,
I want to rewatch the scene of Keeler and Barris at the bar again because like there's something else in there too. There's just I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And like I want to find the verse that Keeler reads from the Bible because I actually have like a similar verse tattooed on my back.
Oh, nice.
It's the message is you can't take anything with you when you die. But the one I have on my back is naked man is born into the world, and as he leaves, so he departs.
Yeah.
He can take nothing with him.
Right.
So like that resonates with me. But then the switching of the glasses, that was like it was very subtle and edited in such a way that you wouldn't notice unless you're staring at it. But yeah. I don't know why I'm talking about it again, but I'm probably going to watch it again.
That's all good.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I did like that too. And then what does he say afterwards? Like, oh, is that so and so? And he's like, no, it's scripture. He's like, oh God, my favorite. What do you say? It's my. What do you say? I was like, oh God, he's my favorite guy or something.
Yeah,
something like. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from my verdict, I mean, I want to say, Let It Live because I'm sitting across from my good friend Luke here.
Dude, do whatever you want.
But
man.
I mean, again,
it's just not your bag. Don't worry about it.
I want to say kill it either, because I want to say, again, not a terrible film. I guess Let It Live. It's not hurting anybody. People enjoy it.
Well, I think the verdict is about whether or not it should be canceled.
Yeah,
kind of deal.
I think canceled / also though, like, do we need to let this legacy live on? Is like another way to put it too.
Okay.
Because that was like kind of what I forget what movie we did, but there was one where we were just all kind of like, wasn't necessarily offensive, but we were just like, we don't need this in our lives. It's like, what's done is done.
Yeah, well, let it live.
It's not a really well ironed out bit, I'll admit. But
yeah, I think it's great. I still, anything based in Kill Fuck Marry, I'm gonna support 110%.
All right.
And yeah, for me, I want to let it live. I think I'm going to monitor it only because on this viewing, although I did enjoy it, I was just kind of like, I was hit with like a somberness that I had never been hit with this film, in the sense that I kind of had this somber moment of like, oh, I don't love this like I used to. This might be the last time I watch this, because like, I don't want to force myself to like continue to like watch it and enjoy it, in the sense that it's like, I would rather just kind of like be like, okay, like maybe this is how I feel about it. I'm going to put her to bed because I don't want to grow to hate her, kind of thing,
Right on.
So yeah, like I think,
that's cool.
I think I'm going to monitor it.
Right on.
And for the reason that it's a personal reason, it's not like that it needs to be canceled or watched over or anything like that. I think everything,
it's just a gut feeling.
It's a gut feeling, and it's just, not canceled. It's fine.
Right on. Like I said, I've never been able to talk to anybody about this movie, so I'm very curious to know what people think.
Hey, I'm still happy to like go corner folks in a bar with you and
just pull it up on the iPad. Hey,
exactly.
Let's watch this in this loud bar.
Oh God. Actually had something like that happen. This is a total non sequitur. We can wrap it up if you want to cut this out for the Patreon. But I had something like that happen where I was at work, and I'm not going to name names. I don't even work at the place anymore. But I was working with a guy who was very into Top Gun. And he was like, dude, Top Gun Maverick trailer just dropped. You watch it yet? And I was like, no. Like, he was super hyped for it, or like almost to like where it was like a meme, like where it was a bit he was doing. And he'd ask me all the time, to be like, no, man, I haven't watched it yet. And he's like, it's like a minute and a half. You tell me you don't have a minute and a half to spare, like kind of thing. And then I just kept dodging it. And I got this like big coffee order. And so I was stuck like baristaing for a second. Like I was like steaming, like, it's like, okay, we got an oat milk macchiato. We got this and that. Like, I was making like 9 different coffee drinks. And he just comes in and just hits play, and I see the Paramount logo, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, guy? And then he just literally puts the phone right there on the espresso machine, and like I can't look away because I can't run from it. And so I was like, I watched the Top Gun trailer and all that, and like served my coffee, and felt like I'd been like lightly assaulted. I was just like, I remember like coming back to the bar and just him being like, playing it off very casually, like, well, so what'd you think, man? Da-da-da. Like, Cruz still got it, right? Like, I feel dirty. I don't think I know you anymore. I can't look you in the eye when we surf drinks together.
Very good. Well, thank you guys for indulging me with this.
Oh, of course.
This was we've been wanting to do our own, favorite movies. We usually let our guests pick, because it usually helps bring on people with enthusiasm.
Exactly.
If they can pick the movie they want to watch.
I think we'll still do that, but I think we're trying to turn the tide a little bit and actually like, because we've got like a laundry list that keeps building of like, we need to do this movie,
Yeah.
Only way we're going to get to them is if we actually do them. So I think we're going to start doing films we love or really want to discuss, in the sense of like, wow, the feelings are strong with this one. Love or hate, we got to talk about it.
Pluggables. Javier's got some stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my page off the ground. So, yeah, I mean, if you go follow me I'm currently, best way to get it is on Instagram. It has a link to my Letterboxd account. So yeah, go check it out. It's at The Films Are All Right. And it's basically just in the foreseeable future, film reviews, film news, that kind of stuff.
Current film reviews.
Current film reviews. Yeah.
Not
so
so much
whatever's
stuck in the past.
Yeah. Whatever's currently out right now, I'm gonna let you know. should you waste your, is it a waste of time or should you go watch it? So
yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. I covered The Flash last week, so
nice.
Go check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. I would like to be a part of something like that as opposed to just rehashing old movies. No, just kidding. I love this. I don't have a pluggable other than you should listen to this show. It's great. And support us on Patreon or, you don't have to buy anything. Just, give us a like, a thumbs up, share the podcast, tell people about it, get the word out. That would be amazing.
I'd like to counter what Chuck just said and suggest that you do need to buy something.
Yeah, actually, never mind. You do need to buy things. That's right. Also, speaking of buying things, if you are a small business, if you've got an Etsy shop, if you make a lot of really questionable Garfield deviant art you want eyes on, we are more than happy to give you some ad space on our lovely program.
We have space for you.
Exactly.
Right on. I think that covers begging for Patreon money.
There we go.
Next episode, what are you guys thinking? Are you guys gonna thumb wrestle over
a flip of a coin here?
You'll have to remind me your choice. I actually forgot.
So I guess the next 2 episodes will be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Death to Smoochie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm cool with either one.
Don't you waffle on me.
But yeah, we'll be taking those, and then a very, very special episode of Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
Later on in July.
That's right.
Will be a video episode.
Exactly. We'll be in full Kiss makeup too, just to extra sell it.
We'll be in full
I am
Kiss
super
makeup.
pumped. Yeah. Hell, depending on which member I get assigned, I might be in full attire too. Might have to. If I get the demon, I might have to build some pads.
Gotta get some hair.
Can we have mushroom topped pizza? Is that movie?
That is that movie.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Right on. Well, thank you for listening. I have been Luke Lones.
I have been Chuck Starzensky.
And I have been Javier Martinez.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.